Tonight on Bay News, the Sports Edition, find out how the FIU Panthers stacked up this season.
We make it to the next level at the Chamber.
And we find out if college athletes should get paid to play. Let's get started. Good evening and welcome to Bay News, the Sports Edition. My name is Ariel Cosio.
And I'm Fiorella Samaniego. Tonight we get started by talking about our very own alma mater, FIU.
Fiorella, some sports at FIU this fall were successful and some not so much. And with the semester coming to an end, let's take a moment to review FIU's football, volleyball, and soccer teams.
The 2015 Golden Panthers football team had many accomplishments this season, including being ranked top 3 in many offensive categories. But perhaps one of their biggest accomplishments was winning the season opener against state rival UCF.
Huge win. UCF, last year they won their conference. They won the AAC.
On third down.
For Ron Turner, for the team, for the head coach, for FIU, no one expected that. No one in South Florida, anywhere in the nation, they expected FIU to go up to UCF and win that game. It just set. We talked about it in the locker room after. It was like the 12 months that we put in to get into that game. You saw how much people worked and how much they wanted it, and it was just a great win.
The FIU women's volleyball team finished with a 15-13 record on the season and led Conference USA in blocks and finished top 5 in service aces. The FIU men's soccer team boasted one of the best scoring offenses in Conference USA. Head coach Scott Calabrese was recognized as the co-coach of the year in Conference USA.
He's someone you can rely on, and that's what I think a lot of the guys like about him, is that we feel that he relies on us on the field and we can rely on him off the field. He really knows the game, so he's really smart, really tactical. He explains to you what he wants from the beginning, so you go into a game knowing your opponent.
The Golden Panthers brought home the Conference USA Championship for the first time in school history. They also earned a berth in the NCAA National Championship Tournament.
Being able to be crowned the champion and knowing that you have that, you cemented that in the history books is a great feeling.
That's their first time in the national championship since 2004.
That's amazing. Go FIU. Ariel, sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose. That's just how the game goes. But these teams are the only ones hoping to be successful. After winning the conference title, FIU's swim team is back to defend their spot atop Conference USA. Our reporter, Denny Segura, dives right in to find out how this team hopes to find success through adversity.
Resistance band training and endless laps up and down the pool. That's what makes up FIU's not so ordinary rest day.
We just train a lot. We're training the body to be faster and stronger. You have to swim twice a day, 4 hours a day most of your days. So, we're up here actually at this pool by 5 a.m.
This season, there's a new set of challenges for FIU in their race to defend their conference title. Renovations at the Tamiami Parks pool forced the team to travel to Gulliver Preparatory School, where they now hold their vigorous training sessions.
10 to 12 hours a week of travel to and from practices, on top of the training load, on top of their classes, tutoring, life in general that a student athlete has. So it's not good. To say it doesn't take a toll on them, it does.
But the team hasn't let the extra time on the road take away their championship mindset.
The travel, obviously, it's sometimes the pain. We have to wake up earlier, and it takes our practice schedule is longer in terms of how much free time we have now. So that's the only real thing that's affecting us. Our team, we're really used to adversity, so we're dealing with this really well. This pool's very nice compared to the Tamiami pool we train at.
Freestyle swimmer Becky Wild is a senior recruited from Northumberland, England. She says the team is ready for more after spending the last season under the radar.
We went into conference last year as the underdogs, and now we're going in as the top dogs. We thrive on that as a team.
Even though the team's eyes are set on another title, their goals are much deeper than the water they swim in.
When they come in, and we start recruiting them at sometimes 16, 17 years old, when they get out of college after their career, it's a full development of a person, and that's our goal, that they leave here as a better person than they came in.
FIU swim team has 10 meets left on the road to defend their conference championship. This is Danny Segura for Bay News.
Thank you for the coverage, Danny. The Dolphins Cancer Challenge, or DCC, in collaboration with the Sylvester Cancer Research Center, is the largest NFL fundraising organization in the country. Having raised $11 million last year, it aims to aggressively continue fighting cancer through a series of events. I had the opportunity to attend and meet some of its participants. The DCC's Fall Family Fest is an opportunity for families and kids affected by cancer to fight back. Over 500 kids came out to ride and raise money for cancer research. Team Jamie were among the strong supporters. Her husband, Kevin Rusk, shares.
For my wife, who passed away from cancer 2 months ago, she fought an 8-year battle with cancer that wreaked havoc with her life, and Sylvester kept her alive. She did chemo, radiation, had numerous operations, and Sylvester 100% kept her alive.
Sports celebrity like former NBA Miami Heat player Shane Battier believes attending and contributing to an organization like the DCC is our responsibility as a community.
Given the chance to help those who are helping those find a cure and treat those who are affected by such a horrible disease, it's our responsibility to come out and do what we can.
All proceeds go to the University of Miami Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Research Center, the largest of its kind in the region.
This is the 6th year that the Dolphin Cycling Challenge, now the Dolphin Cancer Challenge, has been focused on raising funds for Sylvester. What's unique is that every dollar that is raised goes directly to cancer research. And what we've been able to do with the over $11 million that we've received since the charity started is invest in some state-of-the-art research in terms of laboratory things, but also in terms of clinical research.
Going on its 6th year, the DCC has established itself as one of those organizations that encourages families in the community to participate in the movement. Michael Mandich, president and CEO of the DCC, shares with us his vision.
We're embarking on our 6th event this year. This is just the start of the tip of the iceberg, as we would say, and for a fun and inclusive event where we'll have a 5K, we'll have a concert with Melissa Etheridge and Sheryl Crow at the finish line in February.
So whether you choose to attend an event, complete the 5K challenge, donate, walk, or ride with the kids like I did, the DCC offers families in South Florida many opportunities to get involved in the fight against cancer. And the DCC Cancer Challenge will take place on February 20, 2016. The organization thus far this year has raised more than $375,000. For more information or to get involved, visit dolphincancerchallenge.com. And for an infographic on professional sports foundations and their fundraising efforts, check out our website, baynews.tv.
Speaking of challenges, athletes of all ages need to have a competitive drive to succeed in their sports. Modern athletic training facilities are on the rise to help these athletes do just that. Our reporter Camille Gale visited the Chamber in Davie to learn what it takes to get to the next level.
According to a study by the Pew Charitable Trust, compared to the national average, 5 times the number of pro athletes resides in Florida. With so many pro athletes, the need for a sports complex is on the rise in South Florida. Former Miami Dolphins wide receiver Chris Chambers explains why he returned to Open Chamber Fitness.
There's no indoor facility in South Florida but the Miami Dolphins training facility that you can kind of do everything in. And I think South Florida is kind of missing that right now, and hopefully maybe I can be the one to kind of bring it to them.
The Chamber is South Florida's contemporary youth, adult, and professional athletic training facility. Created by former Miami Dolphins player Chris Chambers, the Chamber provides athletes of all ages the necessary workout regimens to help improve their athletic careers.
With state-of-the-art equipment, nutritional training, and physical therapy, this facility combines innovative resources with proven training methodologies. But can too much training be a bad thing?
Outside training is what everybody does. I mean, everybody does it off season. that's just the main way to just stay in shape and keep your body ready to keep going for the next season.
With injury prevention a top priority, athletic trainers stress the importance of rest for athletes.
Sometimes we tell them we don't let them train. Like there's a lot of times where we'll just do a mobility, flexibility, recovery session, regen, and that's something we really watch out for as far as burning athletes out. We want to stay away from that.
They need some time to rest. The parents are pushing them, and they obviously want to do everything they possibly can do, but I see a lot of them getting injured too. And so, if you really sit back and really give yourself an opportunity to train your body so it can be strong for the season, and then in the off season give yourself 2, 3 to a month of rest, I think overall your production during the season will be a lot better.
FIU's John Steele, head of football athletic training, explains their facilities' on-site resources.
Fortunately for us here at FIU, we have all of those things in-house between the athletic training staff and then the strength and conditioning staff that we work closely with. So most of the time for us, we don't need to send athletes out to get other training. It's just a matter of, I think, finding the balance between doing too much. Sometimes that can happen. A lot of the times now, people think more is better, more is better.
But out of the 6.5% of dedicated college players, only 1.6 make it to the NFL.
If we have an athlete of ours that is going to be working with somebody, we would try to find some level of contact so that we can all just remain in the loop and make sure that we're getting the athlete the best care and training possible.
Regardless of the sport, the foundation of Florida's successful athletes is the proper trainers and training facility. I'm Camille Gale reporting for Bay News.
Thank you, Camille. For a web video on 2 athletes training to go pro, check out our website, baynews.tv. Coming up next, should MLS come to Miami? They're looking to build a soccer stadium across from where the Marlins play. We have special guests joining us for our panel discussion tonight to discuss this topic. And let us know what you think via Twitter at BayNewsFIU.
For 50 years, FIU has been serving a community that's seeking something different from its university. From the sawgrass of the Everglades to the boardrooms of downtown, Miami is a modern, global city built with an entrepreneurial spirit that's always looking forward. A city that moves at this speed requires a public research university to support it. And that's what we've been building at FIU since 1965. A locally engaged, globally connected university.
It looks like Miami will soon have a new soccer team and stadium as negotiations with the Beckham Group united and the city get closer in settling on a location. How can this new stadium affect South Floridians, soccer fans, and business owners of the area? To speak to us on the topic, we have senior reporter from the South Florida Business Journal, Mr. Brian Bendel, who covers real estate and logistics and has won numerous awards for his reporting. We also have Miami Stars coach, Mr. Miguel Manzanero, who has been coaching soccer for over 19 years to the youth in the community. And a local business longtime employee, Ms. Liana Mejia of Bull Bar and Liquors, a business located directly in front of the Marlins Stadium. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Before we begin this discussion, we had the opportunity to speak with Mayor Regalado at City Hall about the endorsement of the project. This is what he had to say.
When the Marlins Stadium was built, there was a promise of economic development to Little Havana. That hasn't happened. I cannot go to the residents of the city of Miami and the voters because he has to go to a referendum in order to deed the land and say that this will be a game changer for Little Havana. I don't think it will. I don't think that the stadium in the short term will create economic development. What I do think is that the people of South Florida are ready to have a soccer stadium.
What do you think about what Mayor Regalado said?
Well, I think it's good that he's not making an empty promise here because we haven't really seen a lot of economic activity generated because of new stadiums really across the whole country. So I think a lot of people, when they were promised Marlins Park, they thought, oh, things would get better in Little Havana, that people would start building things around there, and that really hasn't happened around that stadium. And it's hard to point to a lot of stadiums around the country. So I think he's trying to make sure the expectations aren't too high.
You wrote an article in the South Florida Business Journal where you address the 3 potential sites where the Beckham Group United can potentially build. Why, in your opinion, do you think they finally settled or they're narrowing it down to this prior location?
Well, the Marlins Park / Orange Ball site probably wasn't the most ideal choice, but it was the only choice that was realistic. We all know that Beckham initially wanted to put it near downtown Miami on the waterfront, and it would make sense to have soccer in a place where there's a lot of density in a downtown. People could walk to it. You'd have a lot of buildings. But just financially, it didn't work. You couldn't really compete with the people who were spending like $100 million an acre to buy land downtown. And the city wasn't willing to part with Bayfront Park and some of the other publicly owned waterfront sites downtown. So, given the alternatives, the Orange Bowl was the best thing they had.
Ms. Mejia, you've been working for the Bowl Bar and Liquors for a very long time. What has been your experience, or how has the community reacted with the build-out of the stadium and the potential development of this new stadium?
Creo está decepcionada. En realidad no era no ha dado lo que se esperaba. Al principio, cuando recién se inauguró el estadio, pues sí, había gente, llegaba mucho, pero ya después ya no. Ya ahora ya la mayoría de los negocios inclusive han quebrado algunos negocios cerca de la localidad.
In your opinion, why did the Marlins Stadium fail? And what can the new stadium do to ensure that more people come and see the games at the stadium?
La fanaticada de Miami no es seguidora de perdedores. Si el equipo de los Marlins va ganando, la gente va. Eso pasó al principio, pero cuando ya el equipo ya no da lo que da, entonces la gente se decepciona y no va al estadio.
You've been part of the community for quite some time, teaching soccer. How do you feel this new development can actually affect the community?
Well, actually, from my point of view, it's not going to affect the community because in every sport, we have a representation like the Dolphins, Marlins, and Miami Heat, but we don't have nobody to look up in like MLS teams. So for me and for the kids, especially for the kids, they now have a dream where they can actually work hard and probably see if they can make it to one of those teams. That's from my point of view as a coach in sports. So, affect the community probably, I would say they probably create more jobs.
Well, that's a wrap for our MLS Soccer Stadium discussion. I want to thank our 3 panelists once again for joining us and sharing their insightful knowledge. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
I'm going to engineer something to withstand hurricane force winds.
I'm going to run for Congress.
I'm going to start a company in China.
I'm going to do my graduate research inside the world's only underwater sea lab.
I'm going to dream it.
Then do it.
And from here on out,
for the rest of my life.
I'm going to be a Panther.
A Panther.
An FIU Panther.
And the votes are in. 60% of you think Miami is ready for MLS, while 40% of you don't think we're ready. Keep sharing your thoughts with us via Twitter, and stay tuned for more of Bay News, the Sports Edition, coming up.
Welcome back. It's almost December, which means teams are pushing for playoffs. That's right, it's fantasy football playoff season. Let's take a look at why fantasy football has taken the nation by storm.
Fantasy football is a way for fans to be connected to the NFL. They manage teams with some of their favorite players. Since its inception, the number of fantasy users has increased every year. And with the introduction with new apps and sites, every year it will continue to trend upward. Competition is what really brings so many to this game. Avid fantasy users Alan Pasos and Chris Mendez explain.
It's like a competitive, I know more than you about football type of thing, even though no one knows anything about it. But yeah, I don't know, it's like a sense of pride. Like, yeah, I knew he was going to be good, and he did good, and I win money.
Always play sports, so there's a competitive edge to it. So it's just, you know, being able to hang out with your boys and at the same time, you know, talk your smack and stuff like that. So
Each week brings a new opponent, and with it comes new trash talk and bragging rights.
This week, I'm playing Chris Mendez, who's 6-3, and I have no idea how. He's got a punk roster.
Chris Mendez, this is for you. You vetoed my trade this morning. I hope you're having fun getting that ass whooped.
But even with all the trash talk, it all brings us back to one thing: friends having fun and enjoying the game that they all love.
Armando Amin and Tony Costa, you both came on here, start talking your smack. But you know what? Hey, my running backs, terrible, terrible, Tony, don't worry about it. Double check that again. And Armando, whoop me my butt. It's true.
Do you play fantasy football, Fiorella?
No.
For those of you who are like Fiorella and want to know more, you can check out our web extra on baynews.tv to learn how to play.
Well, I don't play, but I love sports, especially our local sports teams. And if you ask about the history of sports in Miami, the answers might be reduced to the Marlins, the Dolphins, and the Heat. However, there's more to this story. Our reporter Fabian Galvez tells us more.
Back-to-back titles for the Heat. We know sports have become an important business and social factor in Miami. But some people don't know there's more than mainstream entertainment, going from tradition to innovation. In the past years, a new sport has taken force. It combines two different games, golf and frisbee.
You were trying to get the disc in the basket and the least amount of strokes. So every throw is considered a stroke. You know, in golf, everything's measured in yards. We measure everything in feet. A lot of the courses, too, are in public parks as opposed to country clubs.
As easy as it looks, this game requires some practice before you can actually compete.
It takes a lot of patience, just like any other sport. So, I mean, that's one of the most crucial things, you know, patience, and learn how to persevere and not just have mental breakdowns on, you know, every bad shot. Because, you know, eventually, you know, you're going to get better. It's just, you know, what are you going to put into it? It's a lot of growth, not only on a national level, but in a local area as well.
But the sports culture in Miami goes way back. For decades, a game known as Jai Alai made Miami a hotspot.
Since the mid-20s, Miami Casino Jai Alai has been home to this unique sport. And for many years, this was one of the most visited places in town, a historic site that stands as one of the only of its kind in the world.
The game came here from Cuba. It was actually originated in Spain, in the Basque country of Spain, and then they brought it to Cuba, and Cuba brought it here in 1926. So this building was actually, this is a National Historic Site building.
The rules of Jai Alai are similar to those of tennis, but instead of a racket, an instrument called cesta is used to catch and throw the fast-moving ball.
It looks like a glove or something, an extension out of their hand. That ball's coming off at 150 miles an hour, and it's very, very fast. It's a very fast-paced game. It's exciting, and in addition to that, you can bet on it, you can win money.
Este es el deporte favorito mío, el que más me gusta.
Esa es la pelota de Jai Alai, lo que es dentro de la pelota. Yo la corté para que vean lo que hay dentro. No hay nada.
The faster the ball, the more exciting. For someone who's playing it.
Thousands of people used to gamble on their favorite teams and players. However, things started to change over the years.
Right now, our audience unfortunately has dwindled down a lot because, again, the proliferation of gaming, and people have other opportunities to gamble, slot machines, poker rooms, you know, a whole array of different gambling opportunities.
Currently, the fronton receives between 100 and 200 people per day. A $30 million renovation project is on the way in hopes to attract new fans. From Miami, reporting for Bay News, I'm Fabian Galvez.
I think I'll just stick to football and basketball.
Yeah, you do that. For an interactive graphic on club sports at FIU, check out our website, baynews.tv.
Fiorella, we've seen a lot of players getting it right tonight. Now let's look at those that got it wrong with a segment we like to call the Not So Top 10.
I guess he
Oh.
didn't like the call.
Right in the face. Oh.
Ooh, talk about adding insult to
Right
injury.
in the baby maker. This is why I don't play soccer. I like it, but I don't play it.
Guess grandma didn't want his son to
beat
get
up
beat
by
up.
the mama.
Like
What?
nothing even happened.
Is that even legal?
Ooh.
Ouch.
Some weren't meant to dunk, I guess.
No. No way. Oh.
Ooh, he doesn't
what
lift.
was the guy thinking?
Oh, man.
That's what we call a knockout.
Oh, good night.
Oh, that poor guy needs help getting up. Oh! Ouch. That looked like it hurt Ariel. I wouldn't want to be one of them. Being an athlete means being in the spotlight, and sometimes it also means getting underpaid or not getting paid at all. The NCAA has been a money-making endeavor since its inception. Is it time that players get a cut? Anthony Calatayud has some answers.
College sports are full of passion, commitment, and love for the game. But with billions being made by the NCAA every year, student athletes aren't seeing a dime in their pockets.
I think everybody should get a little bit of bump in terms of what they can use on a monthly basis in a stipend, but nothing ridiculous, because at the end of the day they are getting an education, they are getting a lot of stuff taken care of that other students don't get.
These so-called student athletes are doing all of the legwork to receive minimal compensation, while NCAA executives, school administrators, and coaches are lining their pockets with cash.
The revenue stream for coaches, people underestimate. You get paid from the school, you get paid from camps, you get paid from apparel company, you have a TV deal, you have your radio show. That's 5 revenue streams for the coach. So when I come into practice and I miss a couple of shots and I dribble it off my foot, and coach said, Jalen, what's going on with you? What's going on with me? My mother's light's about to get cut off. That's my problem.
Everybody thinks that it is enough to have a scholarship and room and board, but you talking about some guys that otherwise would be on the street trying to hustle, trying to make some money. You know, you can go to college and be in these beautiful places, live in a beautiful apartment, but have $0 in your pocket.
The more popular student athletes resort to their likeness for quick cash, even though benefiting off of your likeness is illegal in the NCAA rulebook. High-profile players like Heisman Trophy winners Jameis Winston, Johnny Manziel, and many others have been investigated for illegally signing their autographs for cash.
Experts aren't the only ones who have something to say when it comes to paying student athletes. We have University of Miami pitcher Sam Abrams to talk about his story and what he thinks about paying student athletes.
I agree that I think college athletes should be paid because of what they have to go through and the amount of money that they make. But that also makes it tough because some sports are not revenue sports, some sports are, some sports make more than others. So, I mean, it's not easy. Also, the fact that schools have more money than others.
There is no clear-cut solution to this growing problem on the horizon. This vicious cycle of exploitation will continue until the executives make a change. Just don't hold your breath waiting for it. For Bay News, I'm Anthony Claudiud.
For an in-depth web video on a student athlete's day-to-day life, check out our website, baynews.tv.
And that's all for Bay News, the sports edition. Remember to follow us on social media for all your sports updates and to let us know your thoughts on today's show.
You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Bay News FIU. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you again tomorrow night. You know? Just enough. It's almost good. 3 hours.